Hello there, and welcome. My name is Calliope, and it looks like you are having some issues with your ears. Is that correct? I see. Would you mind just answering a couple of questions real quick before we start? Wonderful. So, if you could just tell me your name. And your date of birth? And is that your preferred name? How do you like to be addressed? Wonderful. So let me just take a little look here at your file. I see. So we have maybe a little bit of muffling and some pain, a bit of fullness in the ear. I see. Do you mind if I take a peek inside your ears? Just want to get a feel for what might be going on, and that'll help guide how I conduct the examination and what we can do to help you. That's fine. Wonderful. So, just going to take a little look in this ear. I'm going to pull up and back. And let's just look right there. Good. So as I have the otoscope in the ear canal, are you feeling any pain at all or tenderness? Good. I'm just going to keep looking and straighten out a little bit. Good. So let me just take that out, and I'm going to look at the other side. Right about there. Any pain or tenderness here? Very good. Looking around. Keep that straightened. Just good. Good. Okay. So I do see some I see. So I think I have a little inkling as to what might be going on here. So I'm going to get into a more thorough examination. And to start that, I'd like to tell you a little bit about what all we're looking at and looking for. So let's take a little look at the anatomy of the external ear. So this whole area right here, this structure is called the auricle or the pinna. And we have right here the lobe or the lobule. We have the helix right in here. We have the triangular fossa, which is this depression this the bowl of the ear. And all of these structures. Their job is to funnel sound into the ear so that we can hear and interpret what it is we're hearing. So we just looked at the pinna here, which is part of the external ear. We didn't talk about the external auditory meatus quite yet, but this is the opening for the ear canal, of which travels inside the head here and ends at the tympanic membrane, which is the boundary between the external and middle ear here. This is where we have our malleus, incus, and stapes, of which are the Latin words for the hammer, anvil, and stirrup right in here. And then we travel to the inner ear, of which we have structures like the pharyngotympanic tube, the cochlea, right in here, this snail-like structure, and the vestibulocochlear nerve, one of our cranial nerves. So we are going to be focusing on any abnormalities on, around, or behind the pinna here. We will look inside the external auditory meatus into the ear canal. We'll be able to see the tympanic membrane and the tip of the malleus through there. We can look for any abnormalities, anything out of the ordinary in the tissue of the ear canal. We can look for bulging, perforation, discoloration, any impaction with the tympanic membrane, and see if we can figure out what's going on with those ears of yours. So, my examination here is going to start with the surrounding areas before we come into the pinna here. So, first, we're going to look at the pre-auricular area in front of both ears. Right here. And here. Now, in this area, we have, for example, the pre-auricular lymph nodes. Right in here. We come down, we can get into jugulo-digastric. And we come in here. Just feeling around. So I am just real quick, I've got my fingers around the temporomandibular joint and the masseter muscle here. If I could just have you clench and unclench the jaw, you could just clench the muscle and unclench. Good. Clench and unclench. Wonderful. I'm going to come up around where the temples are here. Funnily enough, even though these are called the temples, you would think they would go with the temporal bone. But this is the sphenoid bone. The temporal bone is more behind here. So, I'm going to have you clench and unclench your jaw again. You could just clench and unclench. Clench. Unclench. Wonderful. Now I'm going to work with the joint. So if I could have you open the jaw. Close the jaw. Open. Good. So was any of that particularly painful or tender at all? And did that affect how your ears feel at all? All of that movement in the surrounding area? Let's just come a bit inferior to the ear, superior here, feeling the bone, and then we can come behind here. So right here, this is the mastoid process. This bony ridge, and this is the mastoid tip. Mastoid process, mastoid tip. Then we have the post-auricular nodes with a side of window. General window noises. Did the storm start before you came in? The wind had been picking up, I see. Just feeling all around. And then we have the auricle or the pinna, the cartilaginous structure of the external ear. So we can start with the lobe, the lobule. You will just feel me squeezing and pulling. Let me know if any of this is painful or tender. We come up to the helix here. Now I'm going to pull on the lobes. I'm going to pull down and pull them forward to the side. Any of that feel painful or tender? Good, and I'll do that to the helix. Pull up. Let's go ahead and stretch. How was all that? Let's take a little poke around in our inner structures of the pinna here. So here, right in here, we have the triangular fossa. That little depression here. And we can follow this to the antitragus. That forms the lower border of the concha. Just going to press along this. Then we have the tragus as our little protuberance right here. Helps funnel the sound into the ear like the concha. And then we have the antihelix right in here. I'm just going to press along the antihelix. I can't really stuff my fingers in that area, so I'm going to grab a cotton bud here, and I'm just going to gently press around. Good. How is that? Pressing around the tissue all the way underneath the antihelix. Good. And we'll get a little more into the external auditory meatus, but I want to look behind the ears as well. So I'm just going to pull the ear back and take a look behind. I did a bit of palpation, but just looking at the skin as well as the back of the cartilage. Other side here. Right there. Excellent. So I think we're going to get into our otoscopy then. So we're going to grab the otoscope, and I just want to have a quick look at the ear with the light. And all those little crevices. Quick peek. Good. Let's take a look inside. We are just going to go back, look at the ear canal. We're going to take a good long look at everything. So we want to look at the structure. For example, we want to look at something rather easy to treat. And we can do that here in the clinic. But I'm just going to double check on the other ear. Just going to search around the ear canal. This one is also a touch irritated. Got a bit of pinkness to it that normally would not be present generally. And we have that bit of moisture there. Okay, so again, tympanic membrane is intact. No perforation, no bulging. Here we go. Good. So we have the reflection, the cone of light. We have the tip of the malleus there. Color is correct. Shape. Well, from what I can see of the external and middle ear, there certainly isn't any reason to think that maybe there's an infection. Good. Just going to keep looking for a moment just to make sure. Good. So let me just pull up back here. So again, what we have here is a bit of moisture in the ears, and believe it or not, even a drop or two of water can cause a lot of pain, a lot of discomfort. We are going to want to get that out of the ears. So this is what's called a swimmer's ear. And it can lead to an ear infection. It can lead to temporary or permanent hearing loss. So we want to get that out. Now, I am going to do some suctioning with the ears. And then we're going to use some cotton buds to just get all the remnants. So, let's start with one ear here. And we're just going to very gently suction. This is very easy to do. It's a little hands-on, but that's all I need is my hands. So, I'm just going to put it here. Just like that. And we are just going to, quite like a plunger, use my hand on the ear to get that bit of suction and release. Here. So, how does that feel? When the ears are already irritated, they're very sensitive and can be kind of painful, at least until you get everything out. Good. Now let's go ahead and do both ears here. And release. How is that feeling? It does work easier to have very rapid suction, but because of how irritated your ears are, I just want to do this very gently. Very gently. And keep doing it. And hold this for a moment. Readjust a little. And then pull back. Just come here. Pull back. And then I'll take another look. We can see if we need to do more, if we need to get a little more heavy duty with it. Just let me know if it's too much. Well, I think when we're done here, you'll probably be walking into a storm. The wind's really kicked up. My century-old and change windows do not stand a chance. Cover the ears here and let them release. Release. Good. And then we'll check the ears. Good. I'm gonna have a little peek in there. Have a little peek. Good. And we're just going to look around the ear canal. We're not going to get real deep here. Okay. Good. Alright, so it certainly does just look a little more on the moist side as opposed to wet. Good. There. Just take a look. Looking all around the edges. Good. You do just a little bit more. And then we can get a little bit of a cleanup there. And hopefully wick away any of the remaining moisture. I am going to take this cotton bud, but I am going to pull out the cotton here for the reason of we're not putting the cotton bud inside the ear canal. Your ears might be pretty clear, but we are just looking to dry the inside. So we're going to use this to wick away some of that moisture. I'm just going to twirl and whirl a little bit. Try out any of the rest moisture that might be there. So gently working the bit of the wall. Just going to pull out from this one as well. Just going to use that to press and turn, press and turn. A bit of cotton around in there. And is this painful or irritating at all? Good, very good. Let me see the other ear. Pulling this out until we've got a nice point here. Just very carefully wicking away the moisture. Good. Press, turn, twisting the cotton bud around, not going any further than the ear canal, the opening, but getting a better position of the wall. From inside. I need a little bit more. There. Press and turn. Good. There we go. This should clear up that little swimmer's ear problem. Just to be careful when you take a shower or swim at all. Do suction out your own ears, because if that water sits in there, this is what it ends up doing. It gets very painful and irritating. Good. So we are going to do a last bit of palpation and otoscopy, just to make sure that everything looks better, feels better. Just going to double check that everything is back to normal. I'm just going to manipulate ears a little. Let me know if this is painful at all. Anti-tragus here. Tragus. Triangular fossa. Anti-helix. And the concha. Just going to put my fingers just a bit in. How's that? Good. And just going to manipulate around a bit more. Let's look inside. Good. Good. That looks much better. Just going to check so we know the tympanic membrane is healthy, and that's not what we're looking at, but instead the ear canal. Just keep checking that. Good. And lingering moisture. But it looks pretty good there. The other side. Take a little look, just make sure everything is dry and no longer irritating the insides of your ears. Just taking a look and having just a cursory examination of the tympanic membrane. Peek. Very good. Let's go ahead. Take that out there. And your ears are quite dry. And I think you're all ready to go home. Now, there might be some lingering tenderness while the ear heals, but definitely, I'd say, definitely tomorrow it should be essentially back to normal. If not a few hours or so, 4 to 6 hours, the ears, while sensitive once it's resolved, they tend to heal rather quickly. Your ears are all finished. I'd like to thank you so much for coming to me with your ear issue, and I am so glad we were able to clear it up. If you have any sort of other issues with your ears, just let me know. We can get you in real quick. I hope you have a whale of a day and a good rest of your night. Thank you.
Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. If you enjoyed this video, it would greatly help me out if you clicked the like button and left a comment so YouTube's algorithm registers that it was a good video. If you want to see more of my work, consider subscribing to the channel. I create primarily medical, pseudoscience / alternative medicine, and personal attention ASMR roleplays. But I've done a little bit of everything, from historical to sci-fi to fantasy. If you'd like to support the channel, I offer ad-free videos, early access on videos, and exclusive content on Patreon. Or I also have a Ko-Fi link for a one-time donation, or a throne wish list for props and equipment. Thank you again, and I hope you have a whale of a day and a good rest of your night.